production run, designing that, getting that made, getting that working, verified, and getting it out to the world.
Okay.
And the kind of latest thing we've been working on with some colleagues is like surgical robotics.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been like printing skin on burn victims.
Okay, wow.
So on the donor site, so where they take the goal kind of is like, instead of getting a graft, we can basically print biomaterial, kind of like a two-part epoxy, but it's materials that you already have in your body. And
of course.
print them on the wound and harvest some of the patient cells and then combine them, and they can heal faster and with less pain.
Great.
So we did our first clinical study, and it's been going well, but at the same time, it's like we're still a tiny startup with not much money.
Of course. Right.
So it's like...
When did you think of doing this?
I think it's been like I've always been interested in design.
Okay.
And from an engineering background, like it's, I don't know, it's more of a niche than a kind of common thing.
Okay.
And yeah, I think I've been very lucky in like from each job to job, it's like one thing has kind of led to the next. And being able to like design things and get them made at like my age is pretty special and I'm pretty grateful for. But at the same time, it's like working in little startups.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you might not have a job in 6 months.
Yeah, of course.
And, it's not like the same pay as other companies, and there's a lot of danger, but it's like there's a lot of stress in like trying to get products working first time kind of out the door. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean I believe it's a risk worth taking if you've obviously believe in yourself and whatever your idea is. So definitely gives you the reward afterwards.
Yeah, I think so. And like, you know, I'd prefer like this uncertainty, but there's dangers that come with it, like being addicted to like trying to get something to work and trying to get it out the door, and rather than like maybe your health at times, and like the stress that brings on. And you kind of like, the grass is always greener. You're always thinking about like, what if I did like a more regular, cushy kind of job that was a bit more paperwork?
Yeah.
Would I be satisfied, or would I be comfortable but not feeling like I have as much as like a drive or purpose?
Yeah, I mean, some people would rather like choose a comfortable life where they're in a job earning good money and not really taking any risk as of such, but then it's really comfortable. But then if someone steps out of their comfort zone, that's when good things happen, I believe.
Sure. Like, one thing's kind of led to another.
Of course. Yeah.
But I think with like the industry that I'm in, it's quite like, where do you kind of go from here? It's like, you can design a product, you can be very successful.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, you know, do you get more training? But the training's really like, why would you go to a university like post-grad?
Yeah.
You've got like the bones of an undergrad and you have an experience of like designing stuff and making stuff work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the progression is like make your own company. So there's like that pressure like within the startup community of like doing your own thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Which has its own, you know, difficulties. It's like, I don't know if I'm really like up for that. And you become like, if you do it for so long, you become too pragmatic.
Yeah.
So you see all the holes rather than all the
opportunities. Yeah.
But it's interesting, but who knows where we'll be.
Of course, man.
Cheers.
I feel like if you stick by it, there's definitely something good going to come out of it, you know.
Yeah,
hopefully.
for sure.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like looking back on like these products, like they've done well for a little bit, but they're not, you know, we've learned lots, designed lots that works, but that's only one part of it. Like you've still got to, you know, get the product out there in front of people, and that's really.
But I'm sure, like you designing some products, even if they haven't done anything like too well, you've learned something in order to design something really good in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like one thing led to another, and
Yeah.
you know, the designer's curse is very real. Don't really like anything that you design. see the holes.
Yeah.
And you finish work and then you go home and you like go to bed, but you're like still thinking about a problem.
Yeah, it does take a toll on your mental health as well, I believe. But then I feel like it's also good because you're asking yourself all these questions, you're raising all these issues within your own product in order to solve those issues and make it a better product, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, there's iteration involved through the whole process. And that's like, how you get good products that are well designed and meaningful and useful for the end user.
Yeah.
And for society. Like, I don't want to design fucking coffee machines. I'd rather design stuff that like helps people and that's like novel in some way.
Yeah.
Although I do love coffee, so I don't know. Like, coffee machine might not be that bad.
Okay, so it's like for the cause is more sort of like helping other people. Is
I think that's why. Like,
okay.
I'd rather like design something that can have a positive output on someone's life. I'm not saying like change the world. Like,
nah, of course.
People
like,
that think that are a bit too, it's a bit too big.
Yeah.
But I think if it, helps one person have an easier day, like I think that's pretty special.
No, man, that really is. I mean, it only starts from one person, right? So,
yeah,
who knows?
I think so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you like do all this design work and like you run through a clinical study, and there's mixed results. Like there's things to improve.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you might get some funding from the government, but you've still got to get private funding. It's kind of harder.
How hard is it to find that funding? I'm sure you'll have to run around. Yeah.
Like maybe 5-10 years ago it was a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's really like it's quite difficult. So it's like the reality is like after 6 months, like at the end of the year, like I probably won't have a job if we don't find funding. Which is not like woe is me. It's just like the reality of the situation.
Yeah, of course. And when you say like obviously the funding, how much you're sort of looking at?
Oh, like for a medical product, like it's very expensive.
Okay.
Because you can't just make something, put it out in the market, and if something goes wrong, you can.
Okay, so we're talking like millions of dollars.
Yeah,
okay.
Millions, yeah.
Yeah.
But like tens, not like you've got to get everything validated and approved by the FDA and go through that process. And for good reason, it takes time. Like you don't want to harm anyone at the end of this period. But,
well, then I really hope it works out for you.
Yeah, no, thanks for the chat.
All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your ride.
Thank you.
Yeah.